people teeter-totter with like, oh man, I can't leave my job. Like, for me, it was like, all right, I'm done doing this. I'm just jumping. I was like, I'm gonna burn the ship, no 2-week notice, I'm never coming back. My mom's like, what's your plan B? I was like, there's no fucking plan B. This has to work.
So welcome back to Growth Lab Sessions. I'm Joao, CEO of Stealth White Label Agency, and my mission is simple: to help marketing agencies grow and build sustainable businesses. Today, we're bringing in a real operator who built his agency from pure hustle. Abed Adawi, CEO of AB Marketing Group. Abed left his corporate banking job 8 years ago, signed his first client for just $800 and never looked back. Now he runs one of the most respected local-focused B2B marketing agencies in the automotive space, serving over 50 dealerships, including BMW as a manufacturer client. The episode's packed with lessons on scaling in a niche, earning trust from enterprise clients, and staying scrappy while going big. Abed, welcome to Growth Lab Sessions. Are you ready to take it to the lab?
Let's go, brother. I'm down. Thank you for having me.
All right, awesome. Good to have you in. Man, I love the story of you leaving corporate banking. Tell us a little bit about, like going to school. I'm assuming you went to school to like get that job, and then getting that job. How long did you stay in before you started getting ideas and, going to the SMMA space?
Yeah, man. So I'm not a great student. I felt like I went to college because I had to, because my dad was a first generation immigrant. So he was like, you got to go to school, get that degree. So I felt like I couldn't let him down. So I felt like I had to take that path. I did go to school. I was terrible. It took me 5 years to not get a 4-year bachelor degree. I actually never even graduated. So I'm a dropout. But I went to school, was trying to find my way, studying finance. At 18 years old, I got a job at JP Morgan Chase through a family member I knew that got me the interview, got the job. I was at Chase for 4 years. So I went from a teller to a banker to a relationship banker doing investments. So I grew there. I knew how to work, not a good test taker, not a good student, but I performed well there. So I leaned into that. As I was, doing school part-time, I was in the back of my stats classroom registering for an LLC in 2017. So that's where my head was at. I was on LegalZoom. I wasn't paying attention. So I made the LLC. I was like, you know what? I know business owners. So I took a few meetings. My first meeting I closed for $800 a month for a 3-month trial. And then I quit my job at Chase the very next day. And I didn't give a 2-week notice. I just said, I'm out.
Damn. That was killer. And so what was the niche of the first client you signed?
Yeah. At the time I was competing in fitness competitions. So the business was actually named Fitness Marketing. So my first client was a gym, a local gym. And then I got Retro Fitness, which is more of like a big box chain gym. And I just kind of doubled down in like gyms and restaurants. That was just who I was able to acquire at the time.
Yeah. That's awesome. And so where did you live at that point?
North Jersey. I'm from Parsippany.
North Jersey. Okay, cool. And where did you get the idea? Tell us a little bit more about, how you started thinking about social media marketing and give us a bit of sauce on that. A quick break in the podcast to tell you about Stealth, my white label marketing agency. If you're an agency owner and feeling stuck in fulfillment, hiring, and team management while trying to scale, this is for you. Stealth helps agency owners like you take fulfillment off your plate so you can focus on growth of your agency, from running ad campaigns and SEO to creating high converting content and managing CRMs. We handle the back end for your clients so you don't have to. Whether you're drowning in client work or struggling to scale your agency, Stealth gives you the support you need to scale without the headache. And if that sounds like a fit, then check out our website link in the description and book a time to speak with a consultant. And now back to the
So it was
pod.
2017 when I started the company. So I would say mid 2016, I guess I had the idea of like, hey, Instagram's a thing. It's definitely blowing up to be this beast that no one really understands. But also in the fitness space, there was influencers getting paid a lot of money with brand deals, traveling. So I was a sponsored athlete for Evogen, which is a supplement company. And they paid me to post on social media. So I was like, wait, if I could do this for a supplement brand, I started to connect the dots of like, maybe I could do this for businesses and get paid to do it. Because local business owners were like 40, 50 years old. They built a successful business, but they didn't understand branding. So I could come in and say, hey, your business is incredible in person, but online, it doesn't really present the way it should. So let me help you. Since I'm young and I understand that world, that's basically kind of how I got it.
Okay, cool. And so what were the aspirations like when you were starting out? What were the aspirations of like, hey, these are my long-term goals. I want to get to this. I want to buy like a car. What was going through your head at the time?
Man, at the time, I just didn't want to work for anybody. That's as far as I thought. I didn't have this like, I'm going to build this agency.
Yeah.
And just kind of kept like forming its own life. But at the time, I wanted to work for myself, do my own schedule, and like control my own life. Basically, that was like the first step for me.
And you wanted to control your own life, right? You wanted to kind of, not depend on someone else, not work for someone else. But what gave you the confidence to like flip the switch?
Yeah, that's it. Like for me, it wasn't that big of a deal. I
Okay.
know people teeter totter with like, oh man, I can't leave my job. Like
Yeah.
for me, it was like, all right, I'm done doing this. I'm just jumping. Like it wasn't. I was like, I'm gonna burn the ship. No 2 week notice. I'm never coming back. My mom's like, what's your plan B? I was like, there's no fucking plan B. This has to work. So I think also to give some credit to my father, he met my mom in ESL, English second language. So they both didn't speak English. He started a commercial cleaning company. So he was cleaning toilets and then built a commercial cleaning company, cleaning Amazon, FedEx, UPS, and he did that for over 30 years. So I was like, I was born here. I'm a US citizen. I speak English. I could do something, you know? So
Yeah.
he definitely gave me the confidence to jump, I would say.
Yeah. So you started the agency by yourself at that time, right? And then you started acquiring new clients. What were your strategy to get new clients?
To this day, I'm not a marketer. You know, we're in the agency world. I meet you guys. I'm like, damn, those guys are marketers.
Yeah.
I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a business guy.
Yeah.
I know how to do client acquisition very well. I'm good at building relationships. I don't understand the world of marketing that well.
Hmm.
So my method of getting clients was networking, meeting people. I'd say I have a lot of conviction. So speaking to somebody in person, you know, I pretty much can get the job done.
Hmm. And like, how were you meeting people back then?
Sure. So actually, I met a lot of people, even to this day, at the gym. It's just a good place to speak to other people, and usually like-minded individuals are there. So that's just kind of like a place where I'm able to meet people. Because I'm in the car world now, there's always events, cars and coffees, rallies, supercar unveilings. So I usually meet people there. But somewhere in between, it's just a lot of connections. Just
Hmm.
like you meet this guy, you ask for a referral, or he refers you, and you know
Hmm.
that tends to be the best way for me. It's networking.
And then how did you like, so how many clients did you have before you hired the first person to work for you?
Yeah, good question. We probably had a handful,
Okay.
maybe 5 to 10 monthly clients. It wasn't insane. And it was me and my business partner, Steve. So I did start this by myself. And you met Steve in Cancun. He was a very different person. Steve and I are polar opposites.
Yeah.
He was very analytical, book smart. He went to University of Michigan on a scholarship. So very different individuals and skill sets. So he was my friend since middle school. So when I started this, signed a client, I was like, let me pick his brain. We were texting anyway. I was like, hey, what do you think I should do for this? Because I don't really know what I'm doing. And he would give me advice. And we ended up just kind of working together. And then he came to graduating school, and he had a job at Vanguard. Likely you know Vanguard.
Yeah.
Out of college, he was offered 80K. So it was like a pretty good thing back in 2017 or whatever it was. And he was like, "Fuck that! I'm gonna do this with you." So he declined that, joined me 2 months into the business, and we've been doing this for 8 years now, 8.5 years.
Yeah. And so he took more of the role of the operations. You took more of the role of like the selling. Okay.
Right, exactly. I was more front end, he's back end. But to answer your question, it was him and I for a little bit, and then maybe I'd say a year in, we brought on our first team member from there.
So he basically figured out how to do the whole like fulfillment of clients for 1 year straight while you just focus on client acquisition.
It was not necessarily, it wasn't that delineated. It was just us doing both. I was
Okay.
bringing in the clients, but I was also shooting videos, editing videos. He was building websites, running ads. We were just figuring everything out as a full service agency in the beginning because we offered full service, but we were learning how to do all of it at the same time.
Yeah. And so, like, would you say that both of your connections, like, towards growing the agency together was we hate working for other people, we just want to do our own thing? Or, like, what did you guys just kind of unite on? What was your, like, what united you two?
I think it was the freedom. That's really what we've always looked forward to. Yeah, we want to make money. Yes, we're doing okay and we're going to continue to grow. But like for us, it's like we want to do what we want, where we want, with who we want. That's really what it's all about. Like if we want to work in Miami for 2 months, great, let's do that. If we don't want to work with this client, is he's not a good fit for us and whatever, let him go. Like freedom. That's
Yeah.
really the driving factor for us, I would say.
And like if there are other agency owners listening to this that are thinking about partnering with someone else, like what sort of advice do you typically give in these situations?
That's a great question because typically your stigma for having a partner is very negative. I've been fucked over by this guy took my money, whatever the case is. So the fact that I think our unique mechanism is that we have a good partnership, literally. That's what makes us special. And I think it's because I learned this from Alex Hormozy. Most people build partnerships with who they have interests with first. Hey, you like cars, I like cars. Let's open a dealership. But then they don't have the same mission or same values, right? Because once the interest, once you move past that and you're making decisions, then if your values are different, if I'm money hungry and you're not, then we're going to be making different decisions and cause friction. Whereas with Steve and I, we had the same values, and I knew that because we were friends for 15 years before we did business. And then we definitely had the same mission, which was to build something so we can have freedom. And we don't even have the same interests at all, quite honestly. I like cars, expensive, exotic cars, and he likes to build his house and barbecue in the backyard. So we did it values, mission, interest instead of the other way around.
Yeah. But you complement each other, right? In terms of
Yeah.
interests. And what unites both of you, it's like you want the freedom, right? But the way that you both live your life separately doesn't have to be the same way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
So, man, like I've been holding this question for you for a while. So number one, you're really into exotic cars, right?
Yeah.
And from what I understand, you do have a favorite car that's your daily driver, right? Which is a Land Rover, correct?
Yeah.
And so, like, what model of Land Rover is it, and why do you love it so much? Because it's a super attractive car. I've been wanting to get it, but a lot of people say that the electronics are kind of, so. So, like,
Yeah.
from a lover of Land Rovers, Range Rovers, like, speak on that for us.
Yeah. My buddy Neil has a good quote for Land Rovers is it gives you free rides all the time in a flatbed in the back of the truck. So,
Yeah.
yeah, the stigma and my association to Range Rover, I have a Range Rover Sport SVR. So it's the sport model, but quick as fuck. The association is a lot of problems, right? It breaks down, tech problems, whatever, but they look great. and it's still true. So I was never for that. My buddy Neil I mentioned was kind of the one that introduced me to Range Rovers. He pulled up to a dinner meeting we had in this matte black Range Rover Sport with 24-inch 4G auto wheels. It looked crazy. I was like, wow, that's fucking hot. Some time passes by and I send him a car, this exact car, and him and I went to the dealership on Tuesday, and 2 hours later I left with it. It was like, but anyway, I love that car because it's very balanced. It's luxurious, obviously. You can drive it soft, but you slap it in sport and, 575 horsepower, like you're out.
Yeah.
But
No, I love it. It looks so sexy. Like I really want to get one of those cars. Huh?
I could see you in a Range Rover for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you and
Um,
your girl, you're chilling, like it's fun.
exactly. I love that it's luxurious, but also like sport, right? You can drive it in sport, but it's also just like a cool looking car. It's like the coolest looking car. It's just like the sexiest
Yeah,
looking car, I think. Um,
agreed.
but like you do a lot of work with BMW, right? I think like I just go on these rabbit holes sometimes of like cars I want to get and then start researching everything about the car. It's just like, sometimes I just start making more money too, and then I'm like, I can get that car. So I've been looking into the M3 series and just kind of like trying to understand like different years and different like specific models. Like, what are your thoughts in BMW as a car as a daily driver?
I've had probably 4 or 5 BMWs
Okay.
like the last 3 years. I love them. I think they're great cars. German, man, just they perform really well. The tech's great. Again, like Range Rover, they kind of have reliability issues, but it all depends on what you buy.
Okay.
For me, I mean, people do it differently. I buy cars that are 3 to 5 years old, so they've taken a large amount of majority of its depreciation already, and it's still pretty new. So you can get a car that maybe the sticker's 120K for 70K, and it's still the same car.
Yeah.
If it's under warranty, if it's a one owner, those are kind of things you look for, clean cars. But you can get a lot of car for the money, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Well, speaking on the car themes, but like changing it up from my personal interest to a bit of what the audience wants to
Sure, yeah,
listen to.
right.
Thanks
That
for hanging me
do a
with,
separate
hey,
podcast.
yeah, thanks for hanging, guys. Like, something that people often talk about in the agency world space is like kind of like building perception, right? Of like how other people perceive you, like potential clients, like your potential like customer audience or like ICP. How do you feel about, cars and the way they make you look and like the desire it builds from like just the outside world? Do you feel a change as you've bought different cars throughout the years of like how you're perceived, how much you can like maybe charge for your services? Like, what are your thoughts when it comes to that?
Sure. I mean, I think you nailed it. That perception really is true. It's a brand. You associate yourself to a brand. Like for instance, you're talking Range Rover. That typically has a positive association that you do well, right? And if somebody else drives one, it puts you in the same room as them. That's why having a car in the car world, it just it like makes the association that this guy does well or is successful, and then as a result does well. But yeah, and that was our whole play with our service for dealerships is branding, because a lot of these cars sell themselves, but you don't need to convince someone if they want an M3 to buy an M3. They've already done their research, like yourself. It's just, who am I buying it from? So when we work with these retail stores, we brand them as the only store to go to, and we humanize the team members there, because typically in the car world, there's a negative stigma with car salesmen, right? So we come in and we make it more educational content, entertaining content. So when they say, oh, I want an M3, where do I go? You go to my client ideally, because of that brand we've built.
And let's go back to this, but let's kind of like sort of set the grounds for how you got to working with car dealerships, right?
Yeah.
You started kind of more broad, as a lot of agency owners should, right? A lot of the advice is like, hey, work with a lot of clients in the beginning so you can kind of, find the ones that you generate the best results, find the ones that are paying you the highest retainers, the ones that you like and you vibe with. How did you get to, niching down to cars?
It's a good question. For me, it was the hardest part was just getting in the room. Once I got the first retail store, it just opened like the floodgates and it like broke a belief in my brain. So also, it's easier to leverage having a client to get the next one. So we got our first dealership or car client really, which was BMW store actually. We've had them for about 4 years of working together, and that was because of my client Matt Bibbo. He's been a big impact in our business. We've helped a lot of his stores. He was a multi-store manager, so we were covering a lot of his stores, exotic stores included, like Lamborghini, Washington. So he had stores in New Jersey and the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia area, and we were kind of covering all of it. Not just his stores, but he was definitely a big reason we got in that world. So we signed our first BMW store, and then we got to 50 stores, just all across luxury brands, exotic brands, and some everyday brands.
Okay. And
Hopefully that
so,
answers the question. Sorry.
yeah, no, it does. Thank you. And when you talk about it's much easier to leverage getting more clients after you got one,
Yeah.
tell us about the process, because I feel like there is something there that a lot of agency owners could leverage, right? A lot of them listening to this might already have one or two. How do you typically, build a relationship? Like, what's your strategies to kind of eventually go for the ask?
Yeah, totally. I mean, you hear this from a lot of other people. You have to offer value first, and then you go for your ask. So we would always come in, show them what we could do instead of telling them, because a lot of successful people, they hear a lot of things, but showing them is different, obviously. So we would come in and say, hey, this is what we could do for you, and show them an example, offer them a complimentary shoot, just so we had maybe like a lead magnet. Once we were able to show them exactly what we could do without asking for money, or show them the other partners we've worked with. If I have 5 BMW stores, it kind of proves that I'm able to accommodate you as a sixth one, right? So different approaches. We've done both, but a lot of time you offer value first, and then you go for the ask once it's undeniable that you can provide that value.
Yeah. In terms of the delivery of the service, like, what was that evolution like for your clients, right? First you thought, hey, I'm just going to offer ads. Then I'm going to offer content. Then, no, actually, I need to position them better. That's what sets them apart. Like, what was that like for you in terms of, kind of refining your offer to your ideal client in order for them to not only be attracted to working with you, but to also get the results from what they would expect a marketing agency would provide?
Right. So we've always been full service, but transparently, we were much better at a few services than most of the other ones. So that was our offer. And at the time, it was organic content. So it was professional video content and then social media management. We kind of bundled it together, 2 services. And we were able to charge, pretty good retainers for them. And that's really how we built the agency to where it is today. That was our offer for a while. And then now we've obviously moved into paid. We offer SEO. So now they just kind of stack on top of each other. And that's really how our offer is now. But
So how does your offer look like? Do you have, 3 types of packages? Like,
yeah.
what's kind of like the way you set it up?
So we like doing full service for people, which is typically 4 or 5 services. We're able to charge pretty good retainers there, maybe 10K a month, give or take. And then we have some scaled down ones as well, maybe 1 or 2 services like organic, social, and content. That's probably like a mid-range 5K, and then maybe some smaller downsells to just offer some value in the beginning. But that's kind of what our offers look like.
Yeah. But when you're saying organic, social, and content, like what's so like yeah, like walk through the services of what, a dealership can expect that you would do for each of the services.
Yeah, so at the time we were doing a lot of video content, so shooting, coming up with concepts, shooting and editing videos, and then we were distributing it on channels for them, LinkedIn, Instagram, you name it, the big five. And then we started to add other services as time went on, like SEO for, yeah, keywords, obviously, for any high intent people, and then paid ads. But typically, it's a mix of all those things.
Yeah. So, like, does it work when you just run paid ads for a car dealership? Like, do they get results?
So we don't just do paid ads. Typically, that's an add-on service for the base of content and social media. When you do them all together, you have the organic brand and then some paid advertising. It works well. And what
Yeah.
they need is just booked appointments. They don't need to actually convert and purchase in cart. They're a
Hmm.
local business, so you need someone to show up and take the meeting. That's basically our success metric.
Yeah. And so, when you start working with what was your like first case study, in the car dealership space
Yeah.
that you're like, ooh, we do a good job for them.
Yeah. A good case study is kind of earlier on for one of Matt's stores that I mentioned. It was a BMW store in Virginia. We shot a video of a mobile service van. So this van, especially during COVID, would come to your house, perform an oil change, tire change, whatever, and come back. We shot that video, we posted it. It did all right, engagement wise, a couple thousand views, nothing insane. But who saw it was the manufacturer McLaren. And they had 300 cars stuck at the port on a ship. And they needed to perform a service. So they saw that video that we offered that. And the dealership ended up making $60,000 off of that one video,
Wow.
which was just a maintenance job. But that's branding, right?
Yeah. How happy were they? Like, what was the message like? Like, yo, I love you guys.
Yeah, it paid for us for like a year, so they were happy off of one video. But
Yeah.
that was definitely a good success story. Obviously, that's not an everyday story, but that was definitely good proof of concept of what could happen for us.
Yeah, for sure. Like, so so you started like, scaling up the team, right? You started getting more clients, started scaling up the team. One thing that I've seen in your strategy is that you open up like local presence in different places. Is that correct? How does that work? Like, so you have a local agency that can sit, 10 people and they can service just that region. Like, walk us through that a little bit because I haven't really seen that model except you.
Yeah, it's definitely different, and I'm noticing that's not how everybody else does it. But that's just kind of the way we've done it, and it's worked for us to some degree. But we have a location in Parsippany, which is my hometown. That's our main office. Fits about 30, 40 people in person. And then we have a second smaller office in Maryland. So that's a majority of where our clients are. If you look at a map of the US, it's the East Coast. From New Jersey to Maryland's about, multiple states in between as well. And we typically cover anything in between that with our in-house infrastructure. But if we're doing SEO, we have clients all across the US, which doesn't really matter location base.
Okay. Yeah, because the reason why you do that is because you're going on shoots, right?
Right,
So you
right.
got to have a local presence.
Yeah. There's an in-person element to what we do. That's
Yeah.
We're a local business helping other local businesses, so having that in-person element's really our value proposition.
Yeah. And it really changes the way that you build relationships with the clients, right? Like, I'm assuming that you have account managers go meet clients and like
Yeah.
go with the production team. Is that how
Exactly.
it typically works?
No, that's exactly it. So they're seeing who they're working with. Of course, now, we're a diverse company. We have remote team members, but in the beginning, it was entirely in person. We had 30 people in person going to locations. So our in-person infrastructure was heavy, but it was kind of the business was built around that.
Yeah. And so what does that typically look like in terms of getting, getting your team to a shoot? Who are the people involved?
Yeah. So for a shoot, typically you have a camera operator and someone who directs. It can be another camera operator, like a director of photography, who's really strategic, or it could be a project manager who goes in person and kind of is the dynamic between the client and the camera operator. But our team's grown and changed significantly, and it's really because of our leadership team. You know, we're blessed to have good people that go in person, but it's because of the quality standard that my leaders hold. I have a very good VP of operations. Her name's Christy. She's been with me for almost 4 years. Incredible. Because of her, I was able to step out of operations, and I'm like, I'm bad. You're much better at this. You build the team. So she runs the day-to-day operations, and as a result of her doing that, she's helped us build up the talent accordingly. So the credit goes to her. And obviously, I have a marketing manager. Her name's Vanessa, marketing director, excuse me. She's a beast. So she's helped me build that marketing department. Between those two, I'd say us four are really who have built the agency to what it is today. Many other key team members, of course, but from a leadership standpoint.
Yeah. So who are your leaders today?
Basically, myself and Steve, and then Christy and Vanessa, as I mentioned. We have a really strong project manager, Sophia, but between, that's really the core leadership team.
Okay, so you have the marketing manager and ops manager,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah,
then I guess a lot of the departments are under them in terms of
yeah,
like,
exactly.
account manager reports to the ops manager, for example,
Right.
right?
We have pods and pod leaders, like we've learned from agency founders, but those are the main leaders who are really part of the engine that builds the business, I would say.
Yeah. How often do you meet with the leaders? Like, what's your cadence of meetings that you have with Christy and
Yeah.
the marketing manager?
Yeah, good question. I mean, we speak every day, just in chats. Um, Steve, though, is more day to day. He's managing partner, so he speaks to them routinely twice a week. I hop in probably once a week. My job is just branding and expanding, client acquisition, talent acquisition, and putting the brand online. So I am now the least involved in the day to day that I've been throughout the years. So my role is different now.
So, you say that you're not a marketer, but you are a marketer. You create amazing videos. Like, I was checking out your Instagram and there's super cool videos, right? Like, you're not creating just a traditional video, you are catching trends and coming up with very witty ways of communicating a message, right? Like, I remember that you opened up a location because of the video that you shot, right? It was like a super catchy hook that pulled me in, and I wanted to keep watching. And it was, you were like, your team was acting out different things. And so, like, you are a marketer, dude. Why are you saying that?
I, right. I'm maybe not a traditional marketer, but I appreciate that.
So, how much time do you spend with content?
So it varies. When I'm good about it, I spend a lot of time creating content, but sometimes you're not as good as you should be. But
Yeah.
no, I like producing a lot of content, and that's the attention grabber for us. So the more we do, the better we are. And we have about 15 team members just on the content side of the business. So it's a big part of what we do.
Yeah. But in terms of, the internal content that you're producing for your agency, right? What's that team setup look like?
Good question. Vanessa, the marketing director, definitely helps with the brand side and being strategic. I'm obviously typically the one executing and bringing those concepts to life on camera. And we have great operators on the team that help bring that to life. Like I have Matt, he's a senior creator. He does a lot of content with me. Gabe's been with me for 5.5 years. He's basically my first real employee, and he's grown to be a director of photography. He now drives a Ford Mustang GT. So that guy's grown for sure, which is pretty cool to see that a 23-year-old's driving that car working here for 5 years.
Yeah. No, I love that. And that's an inspiration for other people that work with you, right? It's
Yeah,
like
oh yeah.
you can grow. Um, no, I love that. You today, right? You said that you do a lot of networking events, right,
Yeah.
with car people, things like that. Um, so, and you do content as we just talked about, but are you running ads to generate like book calls for your team? What's
Yeah.
the acquisition look like from that at paid advertising perspective?
So we've had good ads, bad ads. We've had seasons where they perform and seasons where they don't. Our cost per booked call ranges because we're local. It's pretty expensive, a few $100s. Sometimes it's $80. Sometimes it's $300. It really does depend. But hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, no, that does. But I'm
That's never
curious
been
now.
the best way for us to acquire clients, though. We haven't cracked that element for us yet. And once we do, I feel like we'll be very deadly. But right now, that's still a challenge for us.
Yeah. Dude, what do you think about, have you put thought into guerrilla marketing strategies?
No,
Like wrapping your car, saying like,
right,
we will
right,
sell your car, something like
right, right.
that.
Yeah, I've given thought to it, and it's definitely something I should be better about. I've done
That
that
would
with
be
my
so
office,
funny.
but I think wrapping my car would definitely do something for it.
Yeah. I think that would work, dude. Just put a wrap around your whole car and it's like, we sell cars.
Right, right.
Contact us today. Um, I would do it if I were you. No, I don't know if I would do it. Maybe you just spend like company money to buy your next sickest car that you want to get, like your Lambo. Uh, and you just
Get
park
that
that in
with
front of
my
your store
finance.
locations.
Right, right. No, that's really the game, man.
Yo, what about like if you just rented some exotic cars and then wrapped them? Nah, that wouldn't work. But you wrap them and you place them like for a day parked in front of like all of the dealerships you want to work with.
Oh, that's funny.
That's funny, dude.
They would tow the car. That's what they would do. They get this shit off of our lot.
That'd be funny. Cool. So, man, I love talking about like marketing strategies. I guess hence that's why I have this
For
podcast,
sure.
right? Um, so cool. So you have your leadership team, you have, your client acquisition strategies. Have you tried cold calling?
For sure. Cold outbound is how I build it.
Okay.
Ask Curtis. He's like, man, nobody does work the way you guys do. Blood, sweat, and tears. They don't. But yes, cold Instagram DM, cold email, and cold phone calls. That's really how we got this far.
Yeah. Okay.
Or
Cool.
showing up in person. A lot of times we just show up somewhere and we ask for a meeting and works wonders.
So what's been on on your mind regarding AI stuff? Like, are you guys implementing a lot of AI and how?
For sure. As they say in the group, we use AI as a tool to help fulfillment. So it's not replacing anybody, but it's definitely making the operators day to day easier. We use a bunch of different tools. It does vary, but there's a lot that we're integrating, and we're every time we go to one of these, we're like, man, we need to use it more. Man, we need to use it more. But it also keeps evolving. So the more we use it, we're definitely leaning into that. Absolutely.
What are some unique ways that you're using AI right now, or just like some conventional ways?
Yeah, it's a good question. We're using AI for video editing a little bit. That helps with B-roll content or maybe captions, just things that would manually take a lot of time but saves a lot on fulfillment. It's not very sexy, but it helps, and that's definitely a good way we're using it.
Yeah, for sure. Um, so when it comes to working directly with dealerships, right? What do you think it's the most important aspect of your service that improves the way that they're selling more cars? That if they're not working with you, they're not doing.
Yeah. It's definitely the branding play, which is positioning them better online, showing their inventory, meeting their team members. So when somebody watches a video of Jay talking about a car and then they say, I want to buy a car, they go in and they ask for Jay. So it builds that connection. It humanizes a negative stigma that typically is out there. And because of what we've been able to do in the retail car space with branding, we've been able to get attention from the manufacturers, and we work with a few automotive manufacturers directly, not just the stores. So
Yeah,
that's
and yeah, so like let's go in a little bit more into that because I think there's something really unique you do where there are stigma in the space. There's a lot of stigma in the space, right? And so from what I'm hearing is you have strategies to kind of break that stigma. How do you do that?
yeah. We So in the car space, you're dealing with people. Yeah, you're going to buy a car, but it's the person you're dealing with, and that's typically what makes it negative. You
Hmm.
feel like they pressure you to buy something, and then it's not something you wanted, and now you're like, "Wow, I got scammed," or whatever the case is. I got sold by a sleazy car salesman. So what we do is we try to help educate people through content, but also making it fun and entertaining. So this way, first of all, it gets the views, but then the message resonates better. So what we've learned a good formula for engagement is education and entertainment equals engagement. So between those two, we help make it exciting and less intimidating. So when people come in, they say, "Oh, I saw your video about this M4. Because of you, I'm buying this car," and now they have a sale.
Yeah. And so what does a typical video like that look like?
Yeah, so strong hook, something either funny, attention grabbing, or just dope. If you're shooting an exotic car, showing the front end of the car typically does the job. It captures someone's attention. Or you do a clip driving by fast, that captures someone's attention. Or saying something funny. If the salespeople in the dealerships are good speaking on camera, which typically somebody is, that definitely helps if we can come up with something creative. So there's a lot of thought that goes behind it, and a lot of the dynamic is collaborative.
Mm. And then who is it collaborative with the client or between your team of like, hey, this is who the main
Yeah.
people in this store.
Yeah.
I really think he's super funny. He's super boring, but they have an interesting dynamic. So what if we do blah 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 blah? Is that how it goes?
Yeah, it's definitely internal collaboration between the account managers doing the marketing and then the creators creating the content because they have to work well together. It is media marketing at the end of the day. But then we're also collaborating with the people that we're creating the content with and saying, what would you be good at? What do you feel comfortable with? You have any ideas? And sometimes after working with us, they start sending us ideas. What if we did this? I have this crazy skit idea. So it's very collaborative, and we've had really successful stores that are involved, and some stores that nobody wants to be involved, and you can only take it so far. So it's what you put into it.
Yeah. Awesome, man. And in terms of like what's next for you, right? Where's your mind at? Because we met in January in a agency founders event right in Nashville. Um, we're obviously there because we're agency owners that want to evolve, want to do the next things. Like we're putting, investing in our evolution as entrepreneurs. We saw each other again just last month in Cancun, or this month in Cancun, a couple of weeks ago. But we're obviously trying to like evolve and grow, right? So how do you see yourself growing in like the next 1 or 2 years? Like where are you putting energy into?
Yeah. So we've been doing this for 8 years. I'd say the first 3 years or so, we were focused on organic and branding. That's what helped us, do over $5.5 million was that. Now we're really focused on paid and performance, and we've been building the business and the team members and the departments around that for the last, I'd say, 3 years, maybe two to 3 years. As a result, that's the direction we're going in. We are known in the automotive space, but that's about 40% of our clientele. The rest is like home improvements, builders, contractors, med spas. So we are definitely local B2B. We're most known for the cars because they're sexy, like the other content or other clients are just as good for us, and we're looking to acquire more of those, but they might not be as attention grabby.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Well, we're going to transition a little bit into a rapid fire. Okay. There might be a couple questions
Let's
that
go, give it to me.
are repetitive, but I still like to ask. So, what's the most impactful software or tool that you use to run your agency?
Fathom was a game changer when we first found it. That was huge. We obviously use other stuff, but that's definitely the first one that comes to mind. Everyone's favorite.
Yeah. How many niches are you actively involved in?
Me personally,
Yeah, like your agency.
I'd say three or four:
Okay,
auto, med spa, home improvement, and then professional businesses.
cool. What's your average monthly ad spend for marketing and paid acquisition efforts?
In our paid acquisition or clients paid,
Yours internally.
we spend about 5 to 10K a month on ad spend.
Cool. Can you share one unique tactic? Can you share one unique tactic you've used to acquire new clients?
Yeah, go in, do some shit for free that you would charge thousands of dollars for, give it to them, hope they like it enough to get you another meeting and close them for money. That's literally how I've built this business that way.
And the
Everyone's
car wrap in
right,
dealerships, right?
exactly, yeah. Everyone's too afraid to give away shit for free. That's
Yeah.
what I've noticed.
Cool. If you could automate any part of your business, which one would it be and why?
The sales part of my business.
Dude, I thought you're the salesman. Come on.
Yeah, but I want to automate that more, where I can just wake up to Shopify notifications. You
Yeah,
know,
love it. Which marketing trend do you think it's overrated?
what marketing trend do I feel is overrated?
Yeah.
Good question. I'd say reels in general. I feel like
Yeah.
they've passed their peak.
Ooh, what's the next? Carousels?
I hope not. I don't know, but I'd say Instagram's made its peak, and I think it's past that. But
Yeah.
that's probably like an outdated trend, I would say in general.
Cool. If you had to only focus on one marketing channel for growth, which one would it be?
If I was any business or myself,
Yourself as an agency owner.
paid advertising.
Cool. What's your current revenue and how is your agency initially funded?
Bootstrapped, started with my personal credit card. So we went into debt, no investors to do this. We should do give or take three and a half this year. That's
Solid.
that's our projections.
That's awesome. Congrats. How do you manage cash flow as you scale in terms of like,
Yeah,
investing in growth?
yeah. We're always investing in growth. We should probably be a little more conservative with those investments, and we're definitely dialing it back. But I have an incredible partner. He's head of finance. He comes from a finance background, so hats off to him because he's helped us manage our dynamic.
Cool. What's the size of your team and how do you approach hiring?
So we're always acquiring talent. Eddie says it's client acquisition, talent acquisition. I think that's the hardest dance to balance. Sometimes it's too much sales, not enough team, or the other way around. So we're always doing both. I think we're the best at it that we've ever been over the last year or two. And just like client acquisition, there's cold outreach, ads, referrals. You have to do all of it for talent acquisition. We use recruiting partners like Remotely X for overseas. We're always posting on Indeed for in-person, organic social media. So, and then we get a lot of people that just apply that want to work here, and I think speaks a lot to our culture. But yeah, we're always doing a little bit of both. Right now, team size went from 40 to like 32. We're a little bloated, so we're trying to make some trimming down just to be more efficient. But
There's Steve from finance trimming things up.
exactly, exactly.
So what's your last question? What's your biggest bottleneck today?
Lead generation. Just not
Ooh,
enough leads. We can close and we have good retention, but that's why I said our attention's on paid advertising.
dude, car wrap is your solution to
That's it.
all
I'm
of your
doing it.
lead
After
generation
today, I'm
problems.
gonna do it.
I love that, man. Thank you so much. I just have a couple interested questions that I'll probably like edit it out maybe. But how important was it for you to have a finance, partner and a finance background yourself in terms of like, prioritizing different things? Because we're at 70 people right now, and I am just now gonna hire like a finance person internally. So I feel like that's something that maybe it's one of my mistakes of the past.
Got it. I mean, I don't know if it's much of a mistake. You got to 70 team members, so not a big mistake. But I think it's very helpful and has gotten us this far because of managing our cash flow. Steve's incredible at forecasting. He's gotten really good at that. In the past, it was more, bookkeeping and accounting, but he's definitely developed that skill as, CFO, if you will. But I think it's really important, our basic understanding of budgeting, since, sometimes clients owe us 5 figures 90 days later. So we have to float that in the business or find ways to pay our team members who get paid day one versus we're on a net 30 or they're just late and they pay us when they do. So that's cash flow is the number one thing that kills a business, right?
Yeah. But you've also like been able to prioritize your margins through this time, right? I might be at 70 people, but that like could mean that my costs are super inflated and I'm just spending money on things I shouldn't be instead of putting it in my pocket, which is the whole idea of running a business, right?
Right. I mean, we've always been focused on scaling and making investments and infrastructure. So our accountant would look at our P&L and be like, why do you guys have so many people? And we're like, dude, we're trying to build a foundation for a skyscraper, not just a building, So we've always been on the side of let's not profit today and make the proper investment to keep growing tomorrow. But we're also trying to find a better balance of like, we also have to be smart and choose our investments wisely.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been fun. And so, like, what was your, from the event that we in Cancun, what were like things that just kind of stood out for you and that you've been reflecting on since?
Definitely the vertical integration, like the agency world isn't everything you're going to do forever. And then how do you take that background of building one of the hardest companies to build and then going into, like Eddie said, the chicken space or, opening up a med spa, whatever the case is. So it's like, what's the next move and how do we take what we've learned over the last 5 to 10 years, whatever it is, building a marketing company and then inject that into a different business. That's really stuck with me.
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about that as well. We work with agency owners, right? Mostly agency owners. And my thought around there has just been like building a lot of different services around agency owners that, it's like services, but also AI products, recruiting, right? So we're building some things for recruiting, also like looking to work with Eddie on that, because we have a lot of talent from Brazil. I think that's the way to go for sure. I really loved that exercise of seeing what's great about agencies and like what's bad about agencies.
Agreed.
And just trying to think like, what are like, the positive things that I could leverage more, right? And not think about negative things so much. Because I was started thinking about some negative stuff about running an agency.
I like going to these things because it kind of slaps you around and wakes you up. Because your head's up your ass for 6 months and then you go back to these. So it's like a good wake-up call.
Yeah.
Dude, you and I should talk about the white label partnerships outside as well as the recruiting side from Brazil. I think those are 2 things we could do together.
Cool. All right. Well, let me wrap this up. So, Abed, this has been an awesome conversation with you. Thank you for sharing all the sauce with us. I love hearing everything about AB Marketing Group and all of the work that you do with dealerships and other niches locally. Your strategy of, operating locally is the first time I've heard about it. And so I definitely, commend you for thinking outside of the box and just creating your own strategies as opposed to copying everyone else. But before we sign off, where can people connect with you?
Yeah, you could find my business on Instagram, ABMG, or you can find my personal page, Mr.ABMG on Instagram.
Let's go. And for you watching us, thank you again for joining. Please don't forget to subscribe, follow me on Instagram and LinkedIn. I'm at JOWAU. We're also linking Abed's Instagram, personal Instagram in the description, as well as his agencies. Feel free to connect with us, and I'll see you on the next one.